Alrighty, hi everyone, welcome back to another workout video. So today guys, I'm going to show you a routine that I do to prevent low back pain. Now, low back pain is something very common if you spend a lot of time sitting or lifting weights, especially like jobs and at work where you lift up something from the ground, maybe some twisting, like for example I in physical therapy, when we're in the hospital, we need to move the patients around. We need to, sometimes we do a certain movement and that can cause low back pain. So having strong muscles can really prevent low back pain. So having exercises and having these muscles strong. So the main muscles that I'm gonna show you in this routine are gonna be the thoracic extension muscles, the low back muscles, glutes and hamstrings. Now glutes is not just the glute maximus but also the glute medius, right? Sometimes a weakness in the glute medius can cause low back pain. So yeah, that being said, let's just start. So for the thoracic muscles, all right, an exercise that I've showed you many times already is the face pull. Face pull is going to train your opening up the chest, so thoracic extension, external rotation, and abduction and extension of the shoulders. And there is also another very nice exercise that you can do. Sorry, here I need to just grab the elastic band. I didn't get it first. Right, here we go. And face pulls. So the exercise when you're gonna have the elastic band like in front of you, I'm gonna just show it to you right now like this, but you're gonna grab your elastic band just like that. And let's see here if I can do it. And then from here, you're gonna just pull, and you wanna pull, but not doing this, but you wanna pull doing this. So I did it in my last stream, I showed the face pull. So really pulling so that your wrists can be at the same level of your elbows, and it can actually go a little further back than your elbows. So this is the movement. So I hope you can see from the side. So from here, pulling, all right, so scapulas, and then doing this. All right, so see here the movement, how it is. So imagine you have an elastic band and you're just pulling it and you're doing this, right? So that's the face pull. Now another exercise is very similar, you're not gonna even need an elastic band, is the the trapezius inferior train. And for this one, you just need to lay down on the floor like this, all right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna have your hands in front of you, all right? And you're gonna just try to lift them up, like this. All right? And you can do like reps, so you can do like 1, 2, 3, or another very nice thing to do is do it holding it. So you lift up and then you hold. Hold. And then down. So you try to hold like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and then you hold. It's very important that you have your head supported, because otherwise you're going to activate all the low back muscles that, sometimes if you just want to train the trapezius inferior and the rhomboids, you don't want to really also train the low back muscles, then have your head resting on something, just the floor. Just focus on doing this. You can also do it standing on the wall. So you can also do this, all right? Just like this. So being very close to the wall, and then this, right? So it's important that you just move the shoulders. Remember, you don't have to do this. If you do this, you're doing the movement with your low back. So it's just the shoulders that move. Your spine here should be fixed, right? And that's just a very easy way to train your trapezius inferior. So again, upper muscles. Then another very nice exercise in this case, we're combining both low back muscles strengthening and also upper back strengthening, is this exercise right here. I'm going to show you from the other side, where in this case, you really want to instead lift up your trunk from the ground. So you want to have your head in the air like this, all right? And then your hands here should move up and down, like this, without touching the floor, all right? So you're gonna do this movement, right? Like this exact movement, but you're gonna do it by keeping your torso a little bit lift off and your head, lift off from the ground. That's pretty much it. You don't wanna touch the ground with your hands. You wanna really squeeze, your scapulas. You wanna really open up. Again, thoracic extension, but in this case, there is also a little bit of lumbar extension because you're activating your low back muscles. So it's two things at once. And therefore, you can do this. All right, see? And now, if this is too hard, what you can do is you can keep your arms not completely extended, but a little flexed. So you can do this, all right? So from back here, then you flex them, and then you just try to reach up here, and then like that. So you don't do it with your arms extended, but just flex the elbows a little bit, and that should reduce the leverage, and therefore the work that your muscles have to do. So just remember, thoracic extension, a little bit of lumbar extension as well, and then just do this with your hands. So now it's a little bit of low back activation as well. Now, if you want to really start targeting the glutes, and especially glutes and low back to work together, because that's very, very important. Like, to prevent low back pain, you just don't need to strengthen these muscles, but also to make them work together. So you need to start the movement, and you need to drive the movement with the glutes, because with the gluteus maximus, because it's a very big muscle and that's its main function. But then the low back and the hamstrings should assist the movement. And so that's when this exercise right here comes in very, very handy. So you're just laying down, right? You squeeze the glutes and you're trying to lift up the legs from the ground. See here what I'm doing, right? And therefore you should rest your head on the ground, so your low back is not as much as contracted as before, right? So you want to just squeeze the glutes and lift up your legs. Of course, your low back is going to activate because these muscles are all, related, but you're going to drive the movement with the glutes. So that is what you should be looking for. Another thing that you can do is, if you have a bed, like anything, like this, you can just be on the edge of the bed, all right? You can wrap here to the side, and having your hips almost falling down, you can do this same movement, but you can do it like this. See here? This is the same movement as before, but I don't have anything under my feet, so I can actually stretch a little bit more the glutes before I drive my legs up. Now remember here, it's driving with the glutes. You should really always squeeze your glutes. Just like that, right? Now this is gonna strengthen your mind-muscle connection, especially it's gonna start telling your body that you can actually use your glutes and you should activate them before your low back. So you should drive with the glutes and then the low back. Now, there are a ton of different exercises to strengthen the glutes. So for example, now I've showed you many. The hip thrust is one of my favorites. So you're just like this, and what you're going to do is, again, you're going to drive with the glutes, but most importantly, you want to keep your abs engaged. You don't want to do this, all right? So you don't want to go into anterior tilt with your hips, but you want to stay posteriorly tilted. That is going to make your glutes this main driver throughout the entire movement and not just at the beginning. And you may feel that you can't really go very high. For example, here, see that I'm not really reaching very, very high, like I'm almost reaching parallel with my knees. Instead, like if I do this, see that I can go a lot higher, but here I'm using mostly my low back muscles. Now in this movement, you wanna strengthen your glutes, not your low back muscles. So you should keep your core engaged. That is gonna deactivate the lower back muscles, and instead you're gonna squeeze the glutes. So going into hip flexion and then hip extension, really squeezing the glutes and doing all the work with the glutes, just like this. So keep your core, the important thing is just keeping your core engaged. If you keep your core engaged, then you should be doing this exercise correctly, like this. You can add weight if you want to, you can do whatever. Another version on the floor is the glute bridge march, where pretty much here you're gonna do the same. So again, squeezing your core and lifting up with just your glutes, all right? And then from here, you can hold one leg like this, hold a little bit. You're holding here everything with your right glute and also your hamstrings. Then down, and you switch the leg. So you switch the hip that is working. So here the right one, here the left one, right? And you just keep on doing this for time, for reps, just keeping your hips in the same position. So you don't wanna like go down every time that you lift up the leg, you go down, right? You're gonna keep your hips high and you're gonna keep them in the same spot, even if you are moving and you're alternating the legs, right? So that's the goal. And yeah, those two exercises I think are my favorites for what regards glute training. Then another very important glute is the gluteus medius. So this is all for the gluteus maximus, but then you have the gluteus medius. So how to strengthen this muscle? Again, I'm going to show you two exercises. Now the first one is this laying down lateral abduction. So here you're on your side, and what you're going to do is you're going to place your leg back, all right, really extending it past your hips. You don't want to just lift it at the level of your hip, but you're going to really push this leg back, and then you want to lift. And especially you want to have your toes slightly turned towards the ground, so like a little bit of internal rotation as well, right? And then from that position you're going to just do this, all right? You can do this exercise. If you want to feel a little bit more the lengthening, you can do this instead, all right? Now this one is to make the muscle stretch more, and then you can activate it again, all right? So see here the difference, or you can just go up and down. It's just up to you. You can hold again, so you can keep it there for 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then down. And yeah, you can just change and do many different exercises just like this. Remember both sides. Or you can do another exercise here that in this case is standing. So you're gonna just have your wall here for support. You're gonna lift off the leg that is closest to the wall, all right, like this. And then with this hip, you wanna really contract it, and you wanna touch the wall with the other portion of the hip, right? So it's all driving here, and it's all doing this. See here, boom. So you wanna all do the movement like this. It's like something is pushing you from here towards the wall, right? But you don't wanna move your trunk. It's just here that's moving. So your trunk is stable, is fixed. And then you switch side, right? So you wanna do it again for both sides. 15 reps, 15, 20 reps should be good. Just try to feel the contraction, not really trying to squeeze the glute so that you get as close as possible towards the wall. And yeah, so that should be it. Again, for each of these exercises, 2-3 sets should be good. So that's the gluteus medius. And then the last exercise is for the hamstring. So the last muscle that's going to participate in hip extension and therefore in the low back is going to be hamstrings. Now hamstrings as well, I've showed you many different ways to train them. You can train them isometrically. So for example, like this, all right? You have your feet in front of you. So your feet are not very close to you, but they're further away. And then from here, you're going to just lift up your hips. So see here that I'm not touching, okay? And here, most of the work is being done by the hamstrings. So you can do this. Again, remember, very important, contract the core and keep a posterior tilt of the hips. Don't go anterior. So don't do this right? But keep the core activated. And again, here you can do the same. So you can do this kind of march, keeping the same position. Again, it's a little heavier because you have all the weight on one leg and then on the other one. So these are pretty much isometric holds. You can do a more dynamic version by having something beneath your feet that you can slide up and down. So I'm going to show you here with this. So you just place something on the ground that can slide quite easily. And then what you're going to do is you're going to again lift up your hips, and keeping your hips in the same spot, you want to slide out like this. See that my hips are not moving, and then you're going to slide in. So slide out, almost your legs almost completely extended, and then slide in, keeping your hips same level, so not dropping down. And you should really feel your hamstrings in this case working dynamically, so strengthening, lengthening, and then contracting. And yeah, this is a very nice version. Or you can train more. What I like to do is I like to train more the hamstrings eccentrically. So there is this movement that is called the diver, that I like it a lot, where in this case you're on one foot standing, and you're gonna just do this movement where it's almost as you wanna like dive on a pool, right? So you keep your front, so the knee, where you have your leg supported, right? You're gonna keep it a little flexed, so not extended, but a little flexed. And the most important, this leg should really push and should really go into extension, right? As your body tilts forward. And you should really feel at the very end, right here, that the hamstring is controlling your body from falling, because otherwise you just fall down. So your hamstring is working eccentrically, so as it's lengthening, is also controlling yourself from falling towards the front. And then you just change legs. So this is a very good exercise called the diver for the hamstrings, to train them eccentrically. There is a harder variation, for another exercise, eccentric for the hamstrings, but I'm not going to show you it now because it's very advanced and you need to have very strong hamstrings already. And that's pretty much it, guys, because here we have done thoracic extension, thoracic strengthening, low back strengthening, glutes, gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and hamstrings. So if you keep these muscles strong, and especially you make them work together, you can really prevent any low back pain from even arising. So it's not just a treatment for low back pain, it's also prevention. So you're gonna make yourself be in a position such as if you end up lifting a weight that may be a little too much, or you may do a movement that it's, applies a lot of stress in your muscles, because your muscles are stronger and they're already capable of sustaining certain loads, certain exercises, you may actually not even have an injury, because your muscles are going to already be able to do that movement, so and that load. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.